Bruno had seen many strange things in the 6 months since humanity joined the Galactic Council, but nothing quite prepared him for the chaos of Nexus Station. The massive orbital hub buzzed with 1,000 different species, each with their own customs, languages, and ideas of personal space. He was walking through the crowded marketplace, trying to find a decent meal that wouldn't require 3 stomachs to digest, when he heard the commotion. A Vulcan, one of those reptilian species with too many arms, was sprinting through the crowd, clutching an ornate crystalline bag that pulsed with soft blue light. Behind the thief, a tall alien woman stood frozen in shock. She was Thros. Bruno recognized elegant, with skin like polished obsidian and eyes that glowed with an inner amber light. Her elaborate robes marked her as someone important, though Bruno didn't know enough about Thros culture to say what. The security drones were nowhere in sight, as usual. Nexus Station's understaffed security force was a running joke among travelers. Bruno didn't think. He just moved. His human reflexes, honed by evolution on a high-gravity world, gave him an edge. He launched himself forward, weaving through the crowd with an agility that made several aliens stumble back in alarm. The Vulcan was fast, but Bruno was faster. He caught up to the thief at the intersection of 2 corridors, tackling him with a precision that would have made his old football coach proud. The Vulcan hissed and struggled, but Bruno had 80 pounds on him. Within seconds, station security finally arrived, their drones buzzing with belated efficiency. Bruno handed over the thief and retrieved the crystalline bag, noting its surprising weight. When he returned to the marketplace, the Thros woman was waiting, surrounded by what looked like attendants. Up close, she was even more imposing, easily 7 feet tall, with an bearing that spoke of authority. "Your bag?" "Ma'am," Bruno said, offering it with both hands. Remembering the human gesture of respect, the woman's amber eyes studied him with an intensity that made him feel like a specimen under glass. "You are human," she stated, her voice like wind chimes in a storm. "The new species, the violent ones." Bruno stiffened. That reputation had followed humanity since first contact. One unfortunate incident with a Krill diplomatic vessel, and suddenly humans were the aggressive primitives of the galaxy. "Just trying to help," he said simply. "You pursued a thief through a crowded station. You physically restrained him." "Such violence is necessary," Bruno interrupted, then caught himself. "I'm sorry, but your security wasn't coming. That bag looked important. I did what needed to be done." The woman's expression was unreadable. She took the bag, her long fingers tracing its surface. "It contains my family's ancestral records. Irreplaceable." She paused. "I am Magistrate Velshra. You have my gratitude, human, even if I do not approve of your methods." Bruno shrugged. "Bruno Castellanos. And you're welcome, I guess." 3 days later, Bruno stood in the Galactic Council's judicial chamber, and his stomach was in knots. The charges were simple: assault on a Krill merchant during a trade dispute. The reality was more complicated. The Krill had been selling defective life support systems to human colonies, and when Bruno had discovered the fraud and confronted him, things had gotten physical. Bruno had pushed the merchant once. The Krill had fallen dramatically, claiming severe injury. Now Bruno faced deportation from Nexus Station and possible sanctions against all human trade in this sector. His attorney, Ashley Chen, stood beside him, her expression grim. "The judge is Thros," she whispered. "Magistrate Velshra." She's known for being strict on violence cases. Given humanity's reputation, Bruno's blood ran cold. He turned to look at the bench where the magistrate would sit when Valshara entered. Her robes flowing like liquid shadow, her amber eyes swept the chamber before landing on Bruno. For just a moment, something flickered in those ancient eyes' recognition. The proceedings began. The krill merchant testified, embellishing wildly. Bruno's translator struggled to keep up with the flowery descriptions of unprovoked human savagery and barbaric assault. When it was Bruno's turn to speak, he told the truth simply. The defective systems, the colonies at risk. His confrontation, the single push. You became physical, Valshara stated. You used force. Yes, Bruno admitted. I lost my temper. It was wrong. But the alternative was watching people die from faulty equipment. There are proper channels for such complaints, which take months. Those colonies didn't have months. The chamber fell silent. Ashley gripped his arm, warning him to stop talking. Valshara's fingers drummed on her bench. A gesture Bruno couldn't interpret. Human Bruno Castellanos, she finally said. 3 days ago, you committed an act of violence on this station. You tackled a thief, physically restraining him. Bruno's heart sank. She was going to use his own heroism against him. You acted, Valshara continued, when official channels had failed, when security was absent, when violence was, perhaps, the only tool available to prevent a greater wrong. She leaned forward. I did not approve of your methods then. I do not approve now. But I cannot condemn you for possessing the very quality that saved my family's irreplaceable heritage. She turned to the krill merchant. Your business licenses on Nexus Station are revoked, pending investigation into your trade practices. This court finds evidence of fraud far more serious than a single angry shove. To Bruno, she said, you are fined 100 credits for assault. A slap on the wrist, by human standards, I believe. But take this lesson. The galaxy is learning that humans act when others hesitate. That can be your greatest strength or your greatest weakness. Choose wisely which it will be. As the chamber cleared, Valshara approached Bruno and Ashley. Your bag, she said quietly, addressing Bruno directly. It contained records of my family's history as magistrates. 13 generations of judicial wisdom. You returned more than you knew. Just did what was right, Bruno said. Yes, Valshara agreed, the faintest hint of what might have been a smile crossing her features. As you did today, perhaps humanity's impulsiveness has its place in this galaxy after all. Walking out of the chamber, Ashley punched Bruno's shoulder. You recovered a judge's family heirlooms 3 days before your trial. That's the luckiest stupid thing I've ever heard. Bruno laughed, the tension finally breaking. Yeah, remind me to do more stupid lucky things. But he knew the truth. Luck had nothing to do with it. He'd simply done what humans did best. Act when action was needed. Consequences be damned. In a galaxy of careful protocols and endless deliberation, maybe that made humanity exactly what the universe needed, even if they'd never admit it.